United States has a huge Spanish-speaking population, and as a future doctor, I really want to make sure that I'm able to like accommodate my patients in the best way possible, because I mean, I have a huge family history of a bunch of just medical problems, and I know that it's already hard to feel supported by your doctors, especially like when you feel so helpless in that kind of situation. And I can't even imagine what it would be like to be someone who doesn't have English as a first language, going to a hospital, having some kind of horrible, like, deadly illness, and then not being able to connect on that level with your doctor. You would feel completely helpless, and I don't want my patients to ever feel like that. I went to Guatemala with a group called Global Crossroads because I needed experience to apply for medical school, for like clinical volunteering type experience. So I actually want to be an oncologist, so the cancer doctor, and that's because of my family history, and then also a lot of oncology involves genetics, which is really fascinating to me, how like you may or may not inherit cancer based on like how your environment influences your life. So when I was 7 years old, my sister was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and then the next month my dad was diagnosed with leukemia, and the month after that my brother was diagnosed with special needs. Once a few years after my dad was released, my grandma had lymphoma, so she died from that, and then several of my aunts have had breast cancer, and then I have a cousin in Mexico who died from cancer in the intestines. So it was just like there's always been someone in the hospital with cancer with something like deadly, and we're always just like very involved in it, I guess. So it's just like something I've always been surrounded by. And like my mom and I always like had that joke, like, oh, we have to stay healthy because everybody else is falling apart. Yeah, it really does make sense. What doesn't make sense is why I never had the motivation before, is I like never wanted to be a doctor. Like people would ask me if I wanted to be one, and I would be like, no, why would I want to do that? But yeah, actually the reason why I want to be a doctor is to join Doctors Without Borders eventually. That's been my goal since the beginning. I don't have any other motivation. And since it just like kind of all flows together, because being a Doctor Without Borders, I'll be able to use my science knowledge and help people all the time, but also travel around the world and be helping people while I travel. It's just the perfect mix. Now that I'm able to like make my own money and I have like motivation to do these things, like now that's where all my money goes. I don't really spend any money on clothes or food or anything, the necessities. I just spend it all on traveling. I climbed a volcano. It was Acatenango, which is, it's over 1,300 feet high. It took about 8 hours, and we slept at the top. And then at the top of the volcano, which was actually really cool, is Acatenango is like a double volcano. So Acatenango is dormant, so it was safe to be there. And the second one was Fuego, and that one's not dormant. So the whole night, the whole time I was up there, it was erupting every 15 minutes. I just turned 21, so that like New Year's. I like had a skiing accident, but I thought I bruised my ribs. So I went to the ER, and I actually had a mass in my lung. It was the size of an orange. Told me during like the whole process that I might be hooked up to a respirator machine the rest of my life, and just overall I'm not going to have like the breathing capacity that I used to, which really sucks because I really like to hike and travel and like exert my body to like the absolute fullest. I've spent like this past year recovering from the surgery, as like the like mass shrinks in size to, well, like a negligible size. But it's like crazy because now I have a huge scar on my back. It's like about 4 inches, and like I look like Frankenstein's monster. What I understood from what the doctor said is I'm not going to really feel any huge repercussions from my lung capacity until I'm basically an elder. So I have been planning on hiking Machu Picchu for a while now. So my dad really wants to do it with me, so I'm planning on like putting us through some kind of rigorous athletic program.
Anything else interesting about me?